Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Blue Earth County Board of Commissioners meeting agenda for November 4th, 2025. Our first order of business, if you are able, please stand and join me for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Bob, agenda review.
Mr. Chair, there are no changes to the agenda today.
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second for the agenda. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Our third item is some repair hearing for County Ditch 16. So welcome to the County Ditch 16 final hearing. Agenda review. Are there any changes to the agenda today?
No, Mr. Chair, there are no changes.
Got a motion for the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. The purpose of today's hearing is to present the engineer's updated repair report, and to receive comments from all parties interested in the County Ditch 16 proposed repairs. The order of business will be as follows. Staff will review the jurisdictional documents. We will hear from the appointed engineers, and then we will open up the hearing for public comment. I will ask Craig Austerson, the Blue Earth County Drainage staff, to review the jurisdictional documents.
Okay. The hearing notice was mailed out on October 21st, 2025. Notice was posted for the hearing outside the Blue Earth County Historic Courthouse located at 204 South 5th, Mankato, Minnesota. Notice of the public hearing was also published in the Mankato Free Press on October 21st, 2025. The Blue Earth County 16 watershed is approximately 2,277 acres in size and is located in Mapleton and Danville townships. Based on inspections of the County Ditch 16 open ditch, a repair report was developed. Blue Earth County Drainage staff consulted with engineer Mr. Chuck Brandel from ISG to develop a repair report. An informational landowner meeting was held on June 30th, 2025 to discuss the proposed repair report, including costs and plans. At today's hearing, we request the Drainage Authority approve the findings and order the repairs with the updated cost estimate. That's it for jurisdictional documents.
Thank you, Craig. Do I have a motion to accept the jurisdictional documents?
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. I will now ask the ISG staff to please come to the podium and review the engineer's report and state your name and address for the record, please.
All right, good morning. Chuck Brandel with ISG. I have Adam Stenzel with me. I don't think he's presented in front of you guys.
One time.
One time. So Jacob Mueller's also working on this project, but he's on baby watch right now. His wife is due any day now. So
There you go.
yeah. So again, we'll go through the project. We did have a landowner meeting prior to harvest and talked about a lot of the issues on this system. And since then, we've had a couple meetings with DNR staff. And we believe at this point we are ready to move forward with the project. So just a little bit, the original watershed was 4,400 acres. The revised watershed is, I believe, 2,700 acres. This system is somewhat unique that it goes through the lake itself. It's in Mapleton, Beaufort, Danville townships, relatively flat system. This map shows the original watershed, and it had part of the river and part of Knights Lake. The ditch legally goes through Knights Lake. We are not proposing to do any work within Knights Lake because that is a public water. There's also an unnamed public water wetland that the ditch legally goes through. We are not proposing to do any work within that area, but between the two areas we are proposing to do some work. And we have had discussions with the DNR about some of the work that has been done. Part of this project did start, there were a number of beaver dams in this area and in the wetland areas. Those have been taken care of since we started the project. So, a little bit of history. This ditch is from 1906, originally established. There's just under 20,000 feet of mainline open ditch. This repair, we are only looking at the mainline open ditch. There's been some larger repairs in the 50s and the 70s. There was a clean out, I think, about 25 years ago, 24 years ago. And there has been petitions to outlet some of the lands that were approved previously this year. So looking at actually I'll let you go with that.
Yeah, looking at some of the site photos from our drone, you can see in section 13 there's some trees, tree growth, some woody vegetation growth within the ditch buffer that can hinder side slopes and stability of the ditch itself. There's some sloughing throughout the open ditch. One of the biggest issues that we've seen with this ditch is there's a lot of washouts and gully erosion, water kind of ponding on the landscape, but then running off over the ditch buffer through the ditch bank and causing pretty significant erosion. You can see that in the bottom left picture there.
Yeah, it might be hard to see, but if you see these little drowned out areas, those are areas that are coming into the ditch. And then there's little gullies that, because of the grass, you can't see them very well in the picture, but when you drive it, it's pretty rough. So.
And then we got soil borings, I believe last winter, to look at legal grade of the ditch, look at sediment accumulation, and you can see in that bottom left picture, there's some sediment accumulation, green, kind of scummy water, just standing water, and then some vegetation growth within the ditch itself.
So we'll show some slides later, but there's over a foot of sediment in portions of this ditch system backing up water.
Here are a few site photos of some of the crossing. Top left is crossing number 1, 597th Avenue. Crossing number 2 is a private crossing. Crossing number 3 is a private crossing. Get into kind of the concerns with that here. Crossing number 4, private crossing. Crossing number 5 is 127th Street. Most of the crossings, or all the crossings, are in poor condition, either displaying rusting, deformed, above or below legal grade, falling apart, or just negative grade itself. We discussed at the landowner meeting kind of the condition of all these crossings and which ones we wanted to replace, and we came to the conclusion to replace all of them. So,
if we're going to do a project, and I'm paraphrasing what the landowner said, but let's just get the whole thing fixed.
Looking at existing capacities, we're seeing crossing 1, 3, and 5 below an inch per day. Crossing 5 displaying negative grade, but also these capacity calculations don't account for any existing failures or restrictions of cracks being broken, etc.
So onto the proposed design, for ditches, we look at the ditch, the existing condition of the ditch and the public crossings. We look at drainage coefficient. But really what we're doing is how do we bring the system back to what it was supposed to be working at for repair.
Here's our proposed watershed map. Bear with me here, it's a little bit busy. The red is our watershed boundary. The lighter blue line you see is the existing open ditch alignment. The lighter blue teal color is where we're proposing to clean. I want to point out there's a small stretch in between the unnamed basin and Knights Lake that we are proposing to clean, and then everything from crossing 1 all the way up to the north we're proposing to clean. The red hatch you see along the ditch is tree and heavy vegetation removal within the ditch buffer. Over by the unnamed basin in Knights Lake, there's a purple kind of access route that we're proposing to get back there to be able to clean that.
And that is outside of the ditch easement. We're proposing that so that way we could avoid wetland mats and other disturbance in the wetland area. So it's just going to make access easier.
All the green dots you see are the proposed crossings. Notice crossing 6 and 7 being added to this list. There's 2 private ditches that outlet through the mainline ditch buffer into CD16, and we wanted to add a couple crossings on those private ditches within the mainline ditch buffer for maintenance and access and inspection reasons.
This is something we've been working with your staff on most of your ditches when we have areas that aren't accessible and we're doing a repair, let's add a crossing so that can be accessible for spraying, maintenance, and access for cleaning.
The yellow polygons you see are side slope repairs, and the pink are the buffer regrading, which we'll be able to show a little bit better shortly. There's also a bunch of ASIs and ASIROs that are currently proposed for this project.
So we have had correspondence with the DNR. We've had 2 meetings with this, and our last meeting, we had Aaron Jensen send us an email so we'd have it for the record, saying that they did update their OHW. With the elevation of the OHW, they would not allow any cleaning within the public water wetlands, and thus we stated we'll stay out of those. And we showed the plan of where we're going to be cleaning the rest of the system, and the DNR said you shouldn't need a permit for that, but we will notify them when we're working in the area, just because that's good practice, because it's a public water. So.
Here is the plan and profile in that kind of priority area around those lakes. You can see the dotted black line in the plan portion of that view, which is highlighted in red as not cleaning. We're staying out of that. We're not going to clean it. But between those 2 lakes there, we're cleaning to the OHW, not to legal grade, to the OHW. We don't really find that as a concern because water can be kind of retained on the landscape within the unnamed basin, so we don't believe it's going to impact the users of the system. Then to the west of the unnamed basin, we'll start cleaning there to legal grade all the way up to the north.
Very simply, the legal grade of the ditch in the wetland area is here. The OHW, the ordinary high water where the wetland is here. So we're just not gonna, we can't clean to that, otherwise we would drain the wetland. So.
Here's just a zoomed in version of the same thing you were looking at. The blue is the bounds of the lakes, and then our cleaning to the OHW in between, and then to the west of the lake, cleaning to legal grade. So,
fortunately, the highest area is outside the wetland that we're cleaning to, so that should help the system. So.
Proposed capacities. These are all the proposed capacities of all the crossings we're going to replace, all of which are being replaced with RCP, trying to make...
Just concrete.
Yeah, just concrete. And then the establishment of crossing 6 and crossing 7 for maintenance and inspection access. Here's another example plan and profile. The green dots you see are ASIs. The orange that you see is the buffer regrading, and we also have some spoil kind of placements to fill in some of those depressional areas right along the ditch buffer. You can see in the left corner there, you can see where that private ditch comes in to the main line through the ditch buffer. So that's where we'd be establishing a crossing there. The black hatch you see is some side slope repair throughout. This is the profile, just zoomed into the same thing. You can see the purple lines cutting across those gullies. So that's the top of ditch. There's gullies coming through the top of ditch where the water's going over the ditch buffer. And so that will be filled up to that purple line, preventing that erosion from occurring.
And here's where you can see that foot or more of sediment. The orange line is legal grade, the black dash line is where we're currently at. And that shows up very well in the cross sections. The orange is the proposed ditch section, and the black is the existing bottom. So the ditch is wide enough, it's just filled in at the bottom. So we did do a multi-purpose drainage management plan, which is required by statute. We looked at many different practices, put together a map of where we could do wetlands, side inlets. Most of the land could be in controlled drainage if landowners so requested. As part of this, we've put together a number of side inlets. What they're going to do is, when we regrade that buffer, we'll put in a side inlet. It'll reduce erosion, store water temporarily, but then that will lengthen the time between cleanings on the ditch system and also capture a lot of sediment. You've seen these before. Here's the detail of our side inlets. But with that, we'll have estimated at 500 tons a year of sediment that we'll keep out of this ditch system. So with that, we applied for funding with the SWCD, and Jake is here. They have provided funding for this practice, and I just want to thank the SWCD for working with us on a lot of these systems. So it's a good practice for us to reduce erosion coming out of these systems. So here's a picture of one of those installed. As part of the project, we also calculated temporary damages. There'll be about 14 acres of temporary damages. There'll be some regrading in the buffers themselves, about 12 acres of that. So we have accounted for cost for those damages. Kind of zoomed in on this map. Some areas we got to go outside the buffer just to get that grading to work. So, and we've highlighted those on the plans. Project cost, since we last talked with landowners, costs have gone up slightly just from the point that we added all of the crossings. So the total project cost is estimated just over $1 million. The ASI funding that I'm not sure if it's approved, but we've applied for is $43,114.50, which means the landowner cost is $981,729 for the, and that's everything included on the project. So we recommend approval of the project. Feel that the system is out of repair. We have had early coordination with the DNR. There's no permit needed. We have applied for a permit with MnDOT because there is some grading within their easements along Highway 30. So we're waiting for approval of that. If approved, we would estimate that we would bid this project probably in December or January, and construction would occur in 2026. Thank you.
Thank you, Chuck and Adam. All right, at this time, I will open up the public portion of the hearing. If you would like to make a comment, please come to the podium and state your name and address for the record. Comments from the public are expected to be civil and respectful. Please note this meeting is being recorded and there is a 5-minute time limit. The county administrator will give you a 1-minute warning and let you know when you've used your allotted time. In addition, the board may restrict or limit time allotted to a person whose remarks are repetitive or not relevant to the matter under consideration by the board. Is there anyone wishing to comment on the project in front of us today? Please come to the podium. Anyone wishing to comment, please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record. And last time, anyone wishing to comment on County Ditch 16 repair hearing, please come to the podium.
My name is Dale Wishart. I was just wondering, the water retention period of time that you are going to implement along the drainage ditch to prevent sediment from coming into the ditch. You're going to put a berm along there. We have many inlets where water comes off our land. And are you going to raise it up so that water does not exit in a timely fashion?
Thank you, Dale.
Yeah. How those are designed, yes, there will be a berm. We kind of showed you the buffer regrading where those gullies were coming through. It's going to be regraded. But a lot of those, or all of those ASIs are sized to drain within a 24-hour period, if not a shorter time period. So that's essentially how they're drained, or how they're designed.
Yeah, they're designed to drop the sediment out, but we don't want to affect the crop.
Right.
So we size them accordingly, and sometimes we will put riprap overflows where we have a lot of water coming to them. There's a few of those, but most of the time there'll be a pipe drop inlet and a pipe, and they work very well. You've got them on many systems, but again, you got to size them so we don't wreck the crop. So, yep.
Is that satisfactory, Dale?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Dale. Anyone else wishing to comment? Hearing no public comment, I'm going to bring it back to the county board for action, but before we get any action on it, I just do want to call out Jake again. We appreciate working with the SWCD. We did this on a couple of other ditches in the past, and they do work out well, so thank you.
Move to approve.
Okay, got a motion and a second to approve the repairs on County Ditch 16. Any discussion? Thank you, landowners, for the input and the public informational meetings. Those are always very helpful. I think Chuck and the staff really appreciate that. I try to get to most of them, and I was at a couple of these, but thanks for all your input on that. Makes this process much easier. So, okay, with that, I got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. This concludes our County Ditch 16 repair hearing. Thank you, everyone, for your time. Thank you, Chuck and Adam, for your report.
Thank you.
All right, we will move on to some other ditch stuff here. We'll keep Craig right on the hot seat here. County Ditch 63, order for additional bond.
Blue Earth County Ditch 63 watershed is approximately 1,100 acres in size and located in Decoria Township. A petition for improvement was received on April 29, 2024. On May 14th, the Drainage Authority appointed Charles J. Brandel, PE of ISG, as the project engineer. Mr. Brandel was ordered to prepare a preliminary survey report. The hearing on the preliminary survey report was held on January 8th, 2025. State statute requires bond from the petitioners to cover the expenses until the project bids are accepted. The cost of the project exceeded the current bond amount. State statute requires the proceedings to be stopped until additional bond is received. We have been advised by our drainage attorney, Cale Van Bruggen, to make findings in order to send a letter to the petitioner's attorney asking for additional bond. If additional bond is not received, we will be required by law to stop the proceedings.
Thank you, Craig. What are the wishes of the board? We talked about this briefly at a work session. It's just a process we have to go through to keep the ditch moving.
I'll move it.
Second.
Got a motion and a second for the order for additional bonds on County Ditch 63. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Craig. We'll see you in a little bit. Finance. Candace, good morning.
Morning.
Candace Sonic, Finance Director. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Morning.
Today I have two items for your approval. The first one being the 2025 Statement of Work for Audit Services from Clifton Larson Allen. This is a standard agreement that we put before the board every year. On page 109 of your packet, it identifies the fees for the 2025 audit, which would total $76,200 for 2025. So this is about a 2% increase over the prior year's standard audit fees. If there's any additional single audits required, there would be an additional fee. This price includes 2 single audits. And then if there's additional ones, that is kind of detailed depending on the complexity of the programs. And if there's any additional new audit standards, they will price that in addition as well. So I do recommend your approval of the statement of work.
I'll
Okay.
move it.
Second. Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? And we've been extremely happy with them in the past.
Yes,
They do a good job for us.
they've definitely been good partners with us, so yes.
I sit on several committees that they do the audits for, and they do a great job for us on the committees too, so.
Right.
All right, I got a motion and a second for the audit statement of work. If there's no further discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Electronic funds transfer.
Yes. The next item is a statutory requirement each year to authorize the Electronic Funds Transfer Authority. And we recommend that the finance director and assistant finance director continue to be, have that authority, so.
Okay,
Move to approve. Second.
got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Candace.
Thank you.
Have a nice day.
You too.
All right, now we'll move on down to item number 6. Got some sheriff office items. Good morning, Sheriff.
Morning, Sheriff.
Good morning.
Morning, Joe.
I have 3 items for you today to consider. The first one is the jail food service contract. We are going to stick with Summit. They're happy with the calorie count and the staff, finally. And they came to us with a 20% increase proposal, and the jail administrator was able to get them down to a 17% increase, which we did budget for because we knew it was going to go up.
Right.
So
How long a contract was that again, Sheriff?
it goes for a year,
Okay.
December 1st to November 31st.
Okay, so you're recommending approval for that?
I do.
Okay.
So
So,
moved.
the board.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second for the food service contract. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. The second, Mr. Chair, is the nursing contract with the Advanced Correctional Healthcare. We did reach out to other companies to provide nursing and medical services for jails. However, they either were considerably more expensive than ACH or were not interested in doing business in Minnesota for certain statutory reasons. So ACH did present a contract which is a 0% increase from last year to provide the same amount of nursing hours and everything else that's in the contract. Instead of paying ahead for holidays worked, we're going to wait and see if the nurses actually work them and then pay them before we were paying ahead and relying on trying to get our money back. And now, so it'll actually be less upfront that we pay ACH, and we'll see how many holidays are actually worked. But I do recommend approving the nursing contract for 1 year.
So
Right.
moved. Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? That is always a hard contract to get through, as
I know
I'm
it.
sure.
Yeah, it
And I know
is.
you guys have been doing a lot of different things and thinking outside the box, and I appreciate that. I know the chief deputy works on that a lot, and the food contract a lot, so. But always just keep every option open. I know we've talked, you and I have talked
Right.
about several things, and it seems like they never work out.
It's a business no one really wants to get into.
Well,
unfortunately.
yeah, and then the comment you just made, though, about they don't want to come into Minnesota because of our rules and regulations, that's a little frustrating, too, on our end.
I agree.
So, okay. I have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The third is a fee increase. Every year, I look through all the fees that the sheriff's office charges and then find when we need to try to catch up with other counties and recoup our costs due to wage increases and supplies. We did add one that was not there before. It's a on-call per hour with cities that have a police department. We'll be charging $25 per hour for every hour we're on call instead of one of their officers being on call. And then if we get called there, that we do charge them for those hours considerably more. Otherwise, the jail raised a few of their fees, and then we raised the off-duty detail from $90 an hour to $100. Or that's what we're proposing anyway.
All right. The whole fee schedule is in your packet, so if you have any other questions.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? I appreciate you keeping up on those every year or so, just to keep them fluid, so.
Yeah, they're reasonable increases.
Yes, very reasonable. I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. Good seeing
Appreciate it. I'll give you Eric.
All right. Hazard mitigation plan. Good morning, Eric.
Good morning, Eric.
So today, Mr. Chair, members of the board, I'm here to present the 2025 Hazard Mitigation Plan for hopefully approval. This was a process that we do every 5 years in order to be FEMA eligible for a multitude of projects, including our home buyouts and similar projects like that. We started this project in June. It's usually, for those of you that have been around, been a much longer project. It takes up to a year to do this, but because We had an expired plan, and we are on a short list to hopefully get some additional FEMA funding. They fast-tracked us, and so we've been working over the summer. I would tell you that we've gotten great input. Some of you have been on some of the calls that we've had. I met individually with every city one-on-one because they're called out in the plan, and also talked with a lot of the townships. And so today I'm here to present that plan. You all received a copy or a link for that. If approved today, we'll get that submitted to the state. HSCM will take a few days to make sure we meet all the requirements, and then it will go to FEMA. And we're hoping, we're the first plan in Minnesota with the government shutdown. We'll see, hopefully in a couple weeks, we get that back, is what that. So I would recommend your approval for today, and thank you for all of your assistance in getting this plan this far.
Would move the resolution.
Second.
Got a motion and a second for the resolution for the emergency management plan. Any discussion, questions?
Appreciate all your hard work on that. Yeah.
Thank you.
You bet.
Yeah, of course, I have a couple comments. First of all, thank you. You're at townships, you're at mayors and clerks. Got a lot of interaction with the small cities. You were at our work sessions more than once talking about this. And I know there's a lot of time and energy goes into this, and it's summed up in 3 minutes at the board. But that is what it is. But there's a lot of work behind this document that you and your staff put into, and so I appreciate that.
Thank you, appreciate that.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you,
you.
Eric.
Thanks, Eric.
Thanks, Eric.
All right, we will move on to Public Works. Morning, Ryan.
Morning, Ryan. Hey, Ryan. Seems like I just saw you.
Yeah, been a hot 12 hours or so. Ryan Tilges, Blue Earth County Engineer and Public Works Director. First action item for consideration today is consideration of bids for state aid project 007604010. This is for the replacement of a bridge on County State Aid Highway number 4. We received one bid from Icon Constructors. Our engineer's estimate was $1,103,839.25. Icon Constructors' bid was $1,099,853, which was 0.36% under the estimate, so pretty much spot on. This is bid for work in 2026. So with that being said, we would recommend approval of the bid to Icon Constructors.
Move to approve. Second.
Got a motion and a second for the bridge. Any discussion?
We've worked with Icon before?
Yes, they've done several bridges for us.
Okay, great.
Okay, have a motion and a second. If there's no discussion, no other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, our second action item is consideration of a MnDOT agreement number 1060645 for local bridge replacement program. Grant agreement for State Aid Project 007604010. This grant agreement with MnDOT administering these state bond funds for CSAH 4 bridge replacement provides $399,327.50 of local bridge replacement program funds. And then the project also requires county matching funds for the road approach costs and half of the bridge replacement, totaling $700,525.50. I would recommend approval of the grant agreement. I would also state that the grant agreement does include, under action item number 4, a resolution authorizing the county enter into the agreement. It's included in page 13 of the board packet. So I don't know if you'd like to approve the grant agreement and the resolution together or separately. I'll leave that to you.
Can we approve it together?
That'd be fine.
I would move to approve them both.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve the agreements. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Action item number 4 is consideration of a resolution for Minnesota Department of Natural Resources grant funding assistance for Daly Park Playground equipment replacement. This resolution provided in the board packet is to finalize the grant agreement where the county will be receiving $92,974.50. It requires that same amount in matching funds that are identified as local property tax levy funds that go into our park system for the replacement of the playground equipment at Daly Park. I would request approval of the resolution included in the board packet.
I'll move that.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I think it's pretty well known that Blue Earth County's got some diamonds for parks across this, from across the state of Minnesota, and this is only gonna make it look better down in Daly. So I'm certainly gonna approve this.
Yeah, it's a nice park. All right, I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
All right, our next resolution for consideration, item number 5, is resolution authorizing the pursuit of 2025 local road improvement program grant funding for the county stated Highway 5, which is 3rd Avenue in Mankato reconstruction project. We plan on applying for up to $1.5 million of local road improvement program funds toward that project. We'll be working on that grant application with our consultant that'll help us write that in the coming month. We need this resolution approved as part of that process, so I request approval of the included resolution.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
The action item number 6 is the consideration of a resolution of support and agreement for the sponsorship of the City of Madison Lake in their pursuit of a 2025 local road improvement program grant funding for reconstruction projects within the City of Madison Lake. And this program does have different targets for MSA cities, small cities, counties, townships. So I don't believe we're necessarily competing with our city partners for the same funds. So we would support this as we have with other applications of our small cities.
And we've gotten some funding.
Yes,
some
we
of
got
us,
some for, I believe, Mapleton,
Yeah.
for the Barker Street project.
Okay, what are the wishes of the board?
Approve it. Move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, action item number 7 is consideration of a resolution for Williams Nature Center pet ordinance. Currently, there is a restriction. Williams Nature Center is, I believe, the only park that does not allow dogs on leash, and there was a public request to change it to allow people to take their dogs on a walk in the park. Park Advisory Committee discussed it, and on a vote, 6 were in favor, 3 were against changing the current rule. So included in your board packet is a resolution for William Nature Center to allow dogs on a leash no longer than 6 feet.
Okay, thank you, Ryan.
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion?
It was a rather good discussion that
Sure.
we had in the park department, but I think it came out that the rest of our parks have that. Nobody really understood the reason why it
Why it
was.
did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we just found records from 20-plus years ago where the Park Advisory Committee voted to restrict it there, so we
Okay.
didn't really have any other information that gave us a strong why.
And it certainly is a park that's, be great for walking your dog.
Just
So-
clean up afterwards.
Yes.
Well, and that's for
That's
any
the
park.
problem.
That's for any park.
Yeah,
So,
that's probably what.
so, thank you.
Well, it's good that you're representing us on that board, Vance. We appreciate that. So, all right, I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion or any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
All right, thank you. With that, we'll move into some information updates. Please provide questions as we go along. County State Highway 10 from the west county line to County State Highway 20. The segment from 20 to 32 has had difficulty in the aggregate base setting up for paving. The contractors added more coarse aggregate in an attempt to add more structure to the road. We're still hopeful to get this segment paved this year, but it's now been, because of the rain last week, been pushed into late next week, weather permitting, and obviously the base section setting up. And if you remember, the rest of the road from west of CSAH 20 to the county line was, west of CSAH 32 to the county line was going to be left gravel over the course of the winter. And so the contractor's working on finalizing the grading there and recycling the road materials and placing the aggregate base. So from 32 to the Ceresco Township Hall, the road has aggregate base cover over the reclaimed road and should be suitable for the winter season. Obviously, it'll be added effort for our maintenance crew. And then from the Township Hall to 1.25 miles from the West County limits is reclaimed, and it'll be, the under drain tile will be added today. And then they'll get the base put on that section yet. And from the West County line to the 1.25 miles east, the center line culvert and tile crossings have been completed. The segment hasn't been graded, so if you drive it, it's old pavement and then patches where the culverts or tile crossings have been replaced and the millings were put back in. And so the intent is to leave that section as in that condition for the course of the winter, so that we're not turning it over and grading it now, obviously this late in the season. So that'll be passable, and the goal is to get everything returned, obviously, so that people have access throughout the winter and then resume construction on that large project next year. Cassaw 26 bridge replacement. Yeah, go ahead.
Like a question on that, Mr. Chair. So talk to me a little bit, help me understand, as we've had changes with our local construction company, paving company, does that have any impact on this? I mean, a contract that's included, how does that work if we don't pave until next year, but we don't,
Ultimately,
do we know what we have, do we have a paving company?
Yeah, ultimately, the prime contractor is responsible
Figure it
for
out.
paving that road at the prices that they had bidded for.
Okay.
So whether or not Minnesota Paving Materials is still paving out through the remainder of this year, we haven't really received an answer on what's happening next year yet. So we would anticipate that if MPM is unable to pave it with the recent acquisition and change that's been happening, then they'll have to find a subcontractor to perform that work.
So our job is just to hold the general contractor.
Correct. The
To
prime
the
contractor
contractor.
is the one that's responsible for
Contract.
completing the work.
Thank you.
Now, there may be some caveats within the MnDOT contract language that I'm not intricately familiar with that may give them some pause, but we've not had correspondence about that yet with the contractor, or indications of change or problems arising.
Mhm.
It's going to be very interesting, though, to see who steps up to fill that void, because obviously there's a tremendous gap that's going to be left in production, and I believe from what I've heard through the rumor mill, there's several contractors from outside of our direct region that are looking at moving in, kind of setting up shop to pick up that workload. Okay, so,
Thank you.
yep. County State Highway 26 box culvert bridge replacement project. We've had to initiate eminent domain for the remaining parcel that we were unable to acquire through negotiation. We're hopeful that we can resolve the remaining concerns and issues prior to going to court. We plan to begin construction in spring of 2026. County Road 139 bridge replacement. Work started in July 2025, was completed in October and has been reopened to traffic, as well as County Road 156 bridge replacement. Work is complete and the road is reopened to traffic. The County State Highway 40 slope repair project that R&E also has, because of the status on 10, we don't want them to open that up now this time of year, so that'll be a 2026 project. They will have to remove the trees over the winter for the northern long-eared bat requirements. We're moving County State Highway 5 from Riverfront Drive to Summit Avenue. Actually, I should change that really more so to the Cleveland Street, because we've taken out obviously the concrete pavement at the interchange with US Highway 14 out of that and moved that into a future project in our transportation plan. And so that project up to and just slightly past Cleveland Street, the final plan revisions are being addressed. Bolton Mink has had to redesign the connection of the box culvert to the city's large arch pipe. So there's a segment of box culvert we own, and then it goes to a very large, long concrete arch pipe that kind of runs underground and carries this creek for quite a distance. The city's GIS information provided by their engineering staff when we started the project indicated one size. And then much later in the design process, after things were designed, the Bolton and Mink came across other as-built drawings that indicated it's much larger. So now they have to go back and redesign to the correct sizing. So that's not the end of the world. It's unfortunate. We are also working on traffic control plans for large truck and traffic generator sites. And right away we'll begin after the plans are complete. Mostly temporary easements with a few permanent easements. We've been working through the railroad crossing because we're going to be adding a sidewalk crossing at the railroad, and then obviously the new road. The existing crossing is not in great condition, but it'll have to be completely replaced The railroad crossing will be at that siting. And so with that being said, the railroad is drafting an agreement with the county, but we're arguing with them. I don't anticipate, unfortunately, getting very far with them, but we'll be on the hook for the cost for that crossing. So it's looking to be close to $500,000 or so, which is incredibly unfortunate, I guess I should say. But in dealing with the railroads, unfortunately, we have little to no leverage with them. So we made the argument that the crossing was already in poor condition and required replacement, but we'll continue to argue that. I don't know how far we'll get with them. We may involve the MnDOT rail office, but I do anticipate bringing that crossing agreement forward for the county board approval in the future. Then we move on to County State Highway 15 and 28 in St. Clair. Shallow Drive, which is a city street, will be left gravel for the winter. They've encountered some poor soil conditions, and I think the city and their consultant are waiting for that to kind of stabilize a little better. County State Highway 28 North, the gravel base is being placed with the intent to place curb and gutter later this week and then pave it the following week. So that should get back together just in the nick of time. They won't be disturbing the east-west segment of the road, obviously, this year.
I haven't been over there for a couple of weeks, but when I was over there a couple of weeks ago, my wife had to walk down to the post office for the church, and I'm like, they're gonna have this paved by the end of the month. It didn't look good to me, but
they're pushing
they're
into the
working hard. It's not a very big section either, but
No,
that's
about a
good to hear.
block. Detour signage will be left up, but it'll be covered over the course of the winter so
Good.
that they can resume their work in 2026 in the spring. And then County State Highway 69 reconstruction project in LaHillier, South Bend Township. Plans are nearly complete. We're incorporating the storm sewer design recently done by Bolton and Mink. They had a lot of data about the drainage down in that area, so we brought them on board to do the storm sewer design for us because it's fairly complicated and there's some issues obviously down there with drainage already, so I wanted to make sure that we were sensitive to that. With that, we'll be submitting plans to MnDOT later this month for approval to move that project forward and begin right-of-way acquisition as necessary.
Mr. Chair. On the 69 reconstruction, I'm assuming we're gonna go curb and gutter
Correct.
on there. I have a problem with our 32-foot driveways. I mean, I understand in Vernon Center, it was a county road, we got 150 trucks going in and out some days, bouncing over those curbs. To do that. I haven't been to the new county public works building, but I will be measuring that driveway to make sure it's not
32 foot.
an inch longer. Now we've got 69, which will be the CHS truck lot,
Correct.
where we've got over 1,000 trucks going in and out every day. How are we gonna get around this 32-foot driveway rule we have in Blue Earth County?
My understanding is we're working with CHS, and I believe the ball's in their court. I'll check with our design staff, but they were looking at a dedicated in and a dedicated out for that lot, if I remember correctly. And the last I believe I had seen, they were going to be coming, I don't remember if it was in or out, but through a dedicated alley easement so that they're not having the trucks kind of having to conflict, so that they've got more space to negotiate their turning movements, but I could certainly dig into that and get back.
That's not the story I'm hearing, so.
Okay, I'll follow
As
up
I'm
and look
hearing
into
from
that.
them. Thank you.
Yep. But with respect to the driveway widths, yeah, we were very clear at the Public Works facility, and as we did in Lake Crystal with the new site, the new shop on the existing site, is we have to abide by our own standards that we're enforcing on everybody else. So as far as I'm aware, I know we've had that conversation with the designers on that site, that we need to hold ourselves accountable to the same standard we're holding the public to.
And is that a county standard, or is that?
It's from MnDOT. And so we do allow people to go above and beyond that width. However, they have to go through the effort to prove that they have a hardship and require it. So there are sites around the county where they've gone through and provided auto turn templates. So they've actually put some engineering design into it that models the truck turning movements and show that it's necessary to have a wider driveway to facilitate the turning movements because it's of the site constraints, whatever it is. The one that comes to mind is Minnesota Elevator. I know went through that process for their wider driveways. And so that option is out there for these businesses if they want to get a wider driveway to go through that little bit of work to get it to prove to us that it's actually necessary. You know, the one I know that you're talking about, sometimes I think some of that maybe is their frustration over they had kind of, I think just over time they had kind of filled in gravel and made it much larger than it was supposed to be. And it was never necessarily authorized, so I'm sure there's probably some frustration on both sides of the fence.
It's
there.
just bumpy going over the curb every time.
Yeah, and whether or not the necessity of them driving over the curb is my question, but yeah, we can certainly talk about that.
Ryan, do you believe the one site in discussion here is aware of this option to do an appeal?
They may not be. That might have gotten a little muddied because of the fact that that was a city-led project, and I don't know that I ever had a direct conversation with them. They were going through the city's.
And I don't believe that they're in favor of that. That was a way to do whatever, so I guess I don't know whatever, but I know they'd like to have everybody going in and out the same way.
Yeah, if they'd like to call and talk to me, you know,
Okay.
they haven't done that yet, I guess, either,
Okay.
so it's kind of mutually, that they haven't necessarily reached out to us.
It's always, when it's in a city, basically, but a county, it always gets a little
Right.
muckier.
And that project wasn't one that we were lead on. Again, the city of Vernon Center took lead on that.
Yep. Thank you.
Yep. Any other questions on the construction projects? Maintenance activity updates. We have a subcontractor lining a culvert on CASA 7 today. Kind of an interesting process, so we're looking into that as a newer technology to avoid maybe digging up in spot 7 to dig up the road and culvert. And it's it's expensive, but it eliminates the cost and the traffic detour disruption. So we're looking at perhaps doing that on some of the culverts under County Road 16 where we're going to be full up reclaiming the road. Crews are cleaning ditches around the county. After the recent rains, we've been grading gravel roads. Gravel crushing contract is completed. The crews have been working on packing and in preparation to move to the new facility. Crews have completed mowing out the northern third of the county. They're still wrapping up shoulder cuts out in the rest of the county. Park staff have been winterizing the park's facilities, and then crews are preparing snow equipment for the upcoming snow and ice season. And then with that, I provided a memorandum in the county board packet regarding Rapidan Dam updates. Regarding CASA 9 Bridge, we've been participating in weekly calls with TKDA. On October 21st, there was a utility coordination meeting with TKDA, Stonebrook, and impacted utility companies on October 21st. On our weekly call with TKDA, they talked about their recent meeting with the MnDOT State Bridge Office and their coordination with the state bridge engineer, who will be somewhat in charge of approving and recommending these plans for FHWA approval. And the state bridge engineer did agree with the decision to use the deep drilled shaft pier foundations and their design approach. He agreed with it in whole, but did have some questions and some minor design comments for other design elements of the bridge that they'll be taking a look at. They also agreed with the bridge design having one integral abutment. MnDOT will not require the use of the chromium rebars, but they strongly recommend it due to the difficulty and expense of replacing a bridge deck on a continuous steel beam structure in the future. Obviously, it wouldn't be any of our problem, but it's something 50 to 60 years out if that bridge deck needs to be redecked because the rebars start corroding and the concrete is no longer bonded to the reinforcing steel. The difficulty of replacing that deck is incredibly harder because of the curvature of the steel beams and the continuous steel beams. So I think the recommendation is going to lean towards likely including those chromium reinforced rebars to extend that bridge life.
Remember off the top of your head what the cost of that was?
Yeah, not off the top of my head.
Okay.
It was significant in the magnitude of somewhere I believe around $500,000.
That's what I was thinking. But
yeah. And it's a lot of money now, but again, in 50, 60 years, that's a drop in the bucket of a project of that magnitude. TKDA and then their subconsultant, ONE, are working on their structural design models. So they're kind of both doing independent structural design models, and then when they get to the finish, they kind of have to look at them and compare them and try to merge them and make sure that they both have sound calculations and design theory. So it's a common practice for bridges of this size. They anticipate beginning heavy bridge design production soon, and they're going to be setting up a meeting with MnDOT Hydraulics to review the channel dynamics. They did submit preliminary bridge plans on October 24th. We met again with them on the 28th. They've been also looking at constructability and modeling of the bridge as continued work. They're right now thinking that the drilled shaft, they had been looking between 6-foot diameter and 8-foot diameter piers or foundation units. They're leaning towards the 8-foot diameter foundation units. They think from an economy standpoint, to get the bearing necessary, those are going to be more economical and fit the design better. And then they've been coordinating with Barr Engineering on dam removal, river channel grading, so that the two projects can be as complementary as possible. Then last, on the bridge, on October 28th, MnDOT, on behalf of the Federal Highway Administration, sent the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service a request for concurrence for an emergency response project that may affect, but is not likely to affect, the NLAA, the northern long-eared bat. So it's working through those environmental and threatened and endangered species clearances. On the Rapidan Dam, October 6th, the FERC issued a letter to Minnesota SHPO regarding Section 106 of the National Historic Preservation Act for the Rapidan Dam removal. The FERC concurred with the county's area of potential effect. We completed, obviously, the architectural historian report finding the dam is not eligible for listing on the National Register. FERC staff found that the approval of the undertaking would not impact historic structures, and they concurred with our assessment of the dam not being eligible. So they're asking for the MnSHPO concurrence. They also sent consultation letters on October 9th to tribal entities regarding the Section 106 requirements. We also met with Barr Engineering on October 9th, talking about their analysis of the west slope stability for a 3-on-1 slope for that escarpment area. Barr is also providing a safe buffer distance for the construction of an access road around that, trying to determine how far away from that vertical face do we need to be for a safe route to bring materials or in or out from the bottom. And Bolton & Mink needs to complete the alignment survey prior to us sending in a consultant inside of the dam to complete that hazardous material assessment. We'll talk about that a little bit later. We're expecting 30% drawings to be submitted relatively soon, and they're identifying some hydraulics as the dam demolition work happens. On October 23rd, we participated in a meeting with Barr Engineering. Again, Bolton & Mink completed their alignment survey of the dam, but the control points for the survey were removed when the bridge project was taken out. So the control point for the survey was a steel rod driven 16 feet into the ground that was set so that our survey was right on accurate. So Bolton & Mink's survey of these remaining control points on top of the dam were really limited then to GPS accuracy, so they're within about 1/10 of a foot. They really did indicate that within a 1/2 or so, just that kind of the variability of the data, it doesn't look like anything moved. And I think our collective belief between Barr and the county is that if we saw movement, it's going to be more substantial than 1/2 of a tenth. That's the accuracy of the equipment that's being used based off of the satellite data for the GPS survey. So I think we shared that data with the consultant that's going to be doing the hazardous material assessment. They were comfortable with what they found. So the intent, I believe, is that they're going to be performing that work, that assessment this week. So we'll have some staff out there to stay in communication with them while they're inside of the structure. But again, obviously, we're limiting people in and out of it, obviously for safety reasons, but this is necessary. We did finalize the DDD document for FEMA, so we can start moving toward the quantification now, or the repair of the dam that FEMA is going to hypothesize, I guess I would say, and come up with their then cost that they would pay for theoretical repair of the dam. That was submitted and on October 27th. So we're looking forward to that. We've already got a meeting set up, I believe, later this week with FEMA staff to begin that process in coordination with Barr on what it would take to hypothetically repair the dam so that we can begin costing that out. So things are moving. there's a lot of work going on behind the scenes, but a lot of it's in planned production and things like that. So as we get to more critical junctures along the way, obviously we'll bring BAR and or TKDA back to share information with the board. We do anticipate likely having an open house meeting for the bridge shortly after the new year. We wanted to wait till after the holidays were done. So if there's any other questions, be happy to answer them.
Any other questions? Thank you, Ryan.
All right, thank you. Have a good day.
Have a good day.
Thanks, Ryan.
All right. Number 9, County Attorney. Megan, do you have anything to add, or the report's in the packet?
The report seems pretty thorough. If there are any questions, please let me know, and I will work to get those answered.
Thank you very much. All right, run down and do some admin.
Mr. Chair and Commissioners, the first item is the county board minutes for October 21st.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second for the minutes. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Next are the bills for the 2 weeks indicated.
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to pay the bills. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Tab 13 in your packet is the Human Resources Department agenda. We have some action items for the board's consideration today, and so I had to ask Human Resource Director Elva Bach to come up and present the first 2 items.
All right, thank you, Bob. Good morning, Laura.
Morning.
Morning, Laura.
All right. Chair and Commissioners, I do have a couple items. The first is a position grade adjustment. As the board is aware, we do a annual review of 1/3 of the job descriptions as part of our agreement with our consultants in order to make sure that our classifications, compensation is as accurate as can be. While we have a pretty standardized and time-sensitive process, there are occasions where we found we may need additional time to review a job description, or maybe some additional time to discuss what that position would look like, review, is the description actually clearly identifying that position's expectations and functions. And so we did have one that it went a little bit late, and rather than holding up the whole process, we processed what we had done, and so now I am bringing this one forward, and it is for the captain position. It is currently a grade 9, and the recommendation is to move it to a grade 10.
I'll move that.
Second.
Got a motion and a second for the adjustment. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
All right. The second item is the employee handbook revision. This is being brought forward as part of some changes to our handbook, which was discussed at the work session, the previous work session. And so the bulk of the changes are to assure that we have legal compliance. As you know, over the last several years, there have been many changes to employment law within the state of Minnesota, and many of those come with employee handbook language requirements, or we may have had our own policy that we've tried to align better with new policies or programs coming out of the state in order to try to be more user-friendly. There's also some policy changes, organizational updates. We also looked at best practices, and so using language and formatting that follows current public sector HR standards, and then trying to reorganize the content and adopt plain language formatting to enhance the employee and supervisor understanding and accessibility. And so with that, I'm asking that the board approve the updated and revised handbook. I'd answer any questions.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? As Laura already mentioned, we talked about this at length the other day at the work session. Very complicated, so thank you for all your work on that, trying to get everything to coordinate. If there's no other comments, I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Laura.
Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. The third item is authorization for the county board chair and county administrator to sign an agreement with the Law Enforcement Labor Services, Local 440. This is the sheriff's non-licensed essential unit of our 911 telecommunicators. This would be a 2-year labor agreement. The pattern for general wage adjustments would be followed for 26 and 27, which is a 3.5% general wage increase. The other changes to the agreement really bring in some of that earned safe and sick time changes that the legislature has put in place. We did also agree to provide employee dental coverage to this group. And then we did reach an agreement that would split the Minnesota paid family leave 50-50 with the employees. And so relatively limited number of changes to this agreement, 2-year agreement to kind of follow the pattern that's been established. Would have liked a 3rd year, but we just were not successful in getting this particular group to consider that at this point. So bringing it here for the board's consideration and recommending approval.
Resolution of the board. Okay, got a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Tab 14 is a memo regarding approval of a tobacco license to Anchor Lakes LLC. The applicant has completed the required paperwork and submitted the fee. This license would be effective today through the end of 2025. This is the former Clark Station in La Hillier that has been purchased, and so new owner of a facility.
I would move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Tab 15 is a memo regarding a PACE application, Property Assessed Clean Energy, special assessment proposal that would be placed on a facility in Mankato owned by Purple Ninja Holdings LLC. The assessment amount is $90,000. This has been reviewed by the St. Paul Port Authority, which does process some PACE special assessments on behalf of the county. The interest rate for this PACE loan is excuse me, 5.25%, and the term would be for 10 years starting in 2026. This is a facility owned by Jacob Burkholz, and so staff are recommending approval of this PACE loan. I should also note that it is for some solar on the building.
Oh, good to know.
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second for the PACE agreement. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Tab 16 is a memo and resolution regarding the All Seasons Arena. The board has had discussion and work sessions throughout the summer about budget-related items, and one of the items that surfaced through those conversations is the owners of the All Seasons Arena have historically contributed $40,000 to the operating fund of the All Seasons Arena. Blue Earth County's share of that is 7.7%, or $3,109, but as the county has experienced some budgetary challenges and the future looks like we're going to be experiencing further budget challenges, it did cause the board to consider these non-mandated types of services and whether it still is in the best interest of the county to participate in the All Seasons Arena board. We reviewed as staff the joint powers agreement and saw the language in that agreement that requires a 12-month notice if one of the partners wishes to withdraw from the joint powers board. And so staff have developed the attached resolution that, at the board's direction, to consider withdrawal from the All Seasons Arena effective December 31st of 2026. And so bringing it here today for the board's consideration and potential action.
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second
Yep.
for the withdrawal of the joint powers from the ASA.
I'm not real
Discussion?
happy. I'm not real excited, but, you know, it's, I guess, kind of reality.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time talking about
Yeah.
this, and we
Yeah.
did just make a big investment to the improvements of the building, and
And it's completed, so.
yeah, this just might be the time, so it's
Why-
a tough decision.
I think my main reason is Blue Earth County does not have a financial say in what goes on to the All Seasons Arena. That is limited to the city of Mankato and North Mankato. We don't have a vote in that. And if we don't have a vote in the financial status, I don't know why we're members.
Other discussion, questions? All right, I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Tab 17 in your packet is the third quarter donation, so July through September of this year. The first page lists out some monetary donations, about $10,000 to library programs. The second page then includes some other donations to like the clubhouse, a parks dedication fee, donation to the veterans van, and then some donations to the Adult Mental Health Initiative. So a total of $22,826.41 in monetary donations. And then starting on the third page, you see in kind, either products or events given to the library, a lot of summer learning program activity there, totaling an estimated $11,281.19. Then we also document time given to the library by volunteers. That total was $3,374.12. And so recommending that the board accept these donations.
So moved.
Got a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, any discussion? I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right, looks like that brings us to the end of our agenda. We will do some committee reports. Mark, I will start with you.
Okay, on October 21st, for our activities there, we had a RETA annual meeting, and then October 22nd was our AMC district meeting, and then did have a Partners for Housing on October 23rd, and then yesterday I had, with the governor and all, I had the Mankato BCA groundbreaking. So that concludes my report.
Thank you, Commissioner. Kevin?
Since our October 21st board meeting, we had work session that after, or immediately after that. I too was at the District 7 meeting on the 22nd, on the 24th, at the Le Sueur River One Watershed, One Plan meeting. On the 27th, we had our NACO Ag Policy Committee meeting. October 30th was the True Transit Advisory Committee meeting, and I was also at the BCA groundbreaking yesterday. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Commissioner. Patty?
Alrighty, I too attended the work session and the RETA event on the 21st, on the 22nd AMC. 27th, I had my NACO FIGA committee meeting. On the 30th, I went to Feeding Our Community Partners and had a tour up there. And then went to the My Place 7th annual celebration. And yesterday, I was at the Transportation Alliance, where Vance received the Koniarski Award for Outstanding Leadership and Commitment to Improving Minnesota Transportation Infrastructure. And congratulations, Vance.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's the end of my report.
Thank you, Commissioner. The man of the hour, Vance.
I wouldn't
Another
put it that.
transportation award. Boy, your shelf's
Thank
getting
you.
full.
For the
You've
minute.
done very well with that. Thanks for all your work.
Thank you. Well, on the 21st, I also had the work session. I attended in Mayo Ambulance Open House celebrating John Harding, who was one of their captains down there, and has been on for 30-some years. I also attended the RETA annual meeting in St. Peter, the AMC district meeting, and I also attended the My Place 7th annual celebration on the 30th, and of course attended the Transportation Alliance annual meeting yesterday. That's the end of my report, sir.
All right, thank you, Commissioner. And again, congratulations for that.
Thank you.
My report's relatively short. After the board meeting, we had the work session. I also was over at the RETA meeting, which I thought went very well, and then I was out for the AMC district meeting, and I thought that event went very well. The AMC staff always does a nice job putting on a meeting. I think the venue worked out very well at the Indian Island Winery. And that is the end of my report, because I was out of town for a few days after that. So with that, if there's nothing else for the good of the order, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. We're adjourned.